Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran, and today we are going to be taking a look at some new high-tech buggies provided to Ukrainian forces by Western allies. But we're going to break down if this technology is even relevant on the modern battlefield. Let's get into it. Now, I'm just going to put this out there, guys, first and foremost to my friends, the YouTube censors who always check my videos. You're doing a good job. But this is a training exercise. There's not, the guy is pretending to be wounded. It's very obvious, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a sec. Okay, also, so these kind of things are just modified ATVs, all-terrain vehicles, 4x4, big mud tires. It's even got the desert camo paint job. And confidence is key to a person's success. Lack of confidence in one area of your life can easily impact your confidence in others. Did you know that over half of men will experience ED in their lifetimes? It's not just a medical problem. It can also impact men's confidence in other areas of their lives. Thankfully, today's sponsor, Roman, is here to help. Roman is a digital health clinic for men. Roman relies on US licensed medical providers to evaluate, diagnose, and if appropriate, treat with FDA approved medication. Roman is convenient with discreet packaging, free 2-day shipping, and treatments that start as low as $2 a dose. Since Roman is a telehealth company, your initial visit and follow-ups can all be done from the comfort of your own home. And even better, your first visit and follow-ups are free. In addition to ED, Roman also deals with other male health concerns like hair loss. If you're prescribed, get $15 off your first month of treatment using my link down below, getroman.com/CVR. And thanks again to Roman for sponsoring today's video. This is pretty clear what this was designed for. This was for special forces teams of different NATO countries operating in Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq, right down to the paint job. Now, what is the appeal of these vehicles in those wars? Well, in places like Afghanistan, right, we had notorious problems with getting armored vehicles onto the roads. Roads were little more than dirt paths. So the heavier a vehicle was, the more likely it was to collapse the road, especially if it had been raining recently. Getting vehicles stuck was constant for us, and pulling them out was nightmarishly difficult. So having an extremely lightweight vehicle does have its appeal. Another appeal, of course, is that a lot of anti-tank mines are pressure plated. They rely on a heavy vehicle compressing them, setting the mine off. A lightweight vehicle may not do that. Now, are you going to catch me driving one of these vehicles around with a over anti-tank mines being like, this won't go off? Not a chance. Not a chance, friends. But I think the downsides are pretty obvious. One, there's basically no armor. You're as armored as you are walking around. Second, the firepower is extremely light. You can see this has basically 1 RPK, and third, it doesn't have that much carrying capacity. It's got basically this bag here. There's not a lot. It doesn't have a lot of sustainment. If you look at vehicles like MATVs, you can see they have a lot more gear. And can carry a lot more munitions, right? Because they're armored, they're elevated, they're a natural fighting platform wherever they go. These should not be used as combat platforms. You just can't. But what they are is very maneuverable. Though you may notice that even here in this trial run, they are still sort of using paths. They're using roads. And this is why I'm not certain that these are going to be all that helpful in the modern battlefield. In a road in, say, Syria or Iraq, right, this might be the only vehicle that can pass. But when you're talking about a conventional war, well, you're not going to have many paths like this that are barely traversable. Honestly, do you really think a Humvee can't get on 90% of these paths? It can. And behind the front lines, a Humvee is going to do everything that this is doing, but better. It's going to be able to tow more, hold more vehicles, be more secure in the event of, say, an errant artillery strike. It's going to have more firepower, right? You can mount a 50 cal to a Humvee turret. And because the truth is, neither this vehicle nor a Humvee should really be fighting on the front lines. So I wonder just how much effectiveness this is really bringing to the fight. Especially, too, in Ukraine, we've seen a lot of civilian vehicles getting requisitioned. People are hopping into civilian vehicles right? So you can see here, look, we've already to prove my point, here is a training exercise. Here is another vehicle that is driven out here. It's a Forerunner. It's something you and I could buy. So then you're left with, what's the point of these things that are just less effective than a Forerunner? You see what I mean? Okay, look, this is obviously a training exercise. Right? They're going to test out the capabilities of loading this guy onto the vehicle. And do you want to be the casualty strapped to the outside of this thing? Of course not. You'd way rather ride in a 4x4 or a Humvee. So again, guys, the vehicles have to reflect the conflict. They always have. That's always been the way things are done. And it's the way things should be done in these sort of battlefields, right? So is this the right set of vehicles? Now, again, I'm not Ukrainian Special Forces. I don't know exactly what sort of missions they go on. But for me, for my money, I would just take a good old Humvee. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks again to Roman for sponsoring today's video. And of course, if you want to see some combat breakdowns that are not censored by YouTube, you want to become a member of the Patreon. Got to put them behind that paywall or else YouTube will come for me. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.